And Jerry up in the middle.
Oh,
If YouTube's working on my end.
All right.
how is it I'm only seeing myself?
We're seeing you. It just shows you when you're doing it, so you know how you're looking to everybody else.
Are you able to turn your camera off, Jerry?
Switch camera. Oh, there we go.
Okay.
I see him. He's up in a corner now.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's still got his video on.
Can everybody
Yeah,
see
you still-
Jeff's screen?
Yeah, I can.
Yes.
Okay.
Jerry, you can turn your video off down there on the left, right at the bottom where it says start
Yeah.
video.
I stopped.
If you click that, a
Yeah, I
red
was gonna
bar will
say,
go through it.
I think Jeff can control that too.
I stopped.
Oh, okay.
I stopped it.
Oh, okay.
All right, we are recording. Everything is being recorded. This will be the hearing for the Board of Zoning Appeals for April 16th, 2020. We'll go over a couple of housekeeping items. Before applicants speak or HOA members speak, we will need to know their name and address presented to the board, so we have it for record keeping. If we have any residents that join, we'll keep them on mute and we'll allow them to ask questions via the Zoom chat room. Now we're going to start the meeting with roll call. Mr. Shipley,
Here.
Ms. Sandar,
Here.
Mr. Oster,
Here.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Traves.
Yes.
Can everyone see my screen that I'm sharing with you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
The agenda for the hearing tonight. The first case that we'll be discussing is variance and conditional use case application BZA-20-04. Go over the staff report. The applicant and owner is Oak Creek East Homeowners Association, LLC. The agent for it is Robert Blackford. The site is at the intersection of South Old State Road and East Powell Road. Parcel ID number of 318-314-06-004-005. Zone single family planned residential district. They are seeking an area variance and conditional use from the Orange Township zoning resolution, Article 22, to allow for construction of a monument sign in an area zone single family planned residential district. The property is located at the intersection of South Old State and East Powell Road. The sign will be located east of South Old State Road and north of East Powell Road. It's owned by Oak Creek East HOA LLC. Requesting the variance for setback of the monument sign and the conditional use for the monument sign. To the north is single family plan district, single family homes. To the south is zone Columbus. They have multi-family homes. To the east and west are both single family plan residential district with single family homes. This is a zoomed out aerial of the site. The zoomed in aerial of the site will be at the corner, the intersection of Powell there. For the staff review, the signage and billboard regulations, it requires a setback located 15 feet from the right-of-way line, and then 1 foot for each additional square footage of display area. The applicant has requested to allow for the construction of a monument sign that will fail to meet the minimum setback requirement. The sign will be constructed in the same location as their current sign and has to seek this variance due to the road improvements completed on South Old State Road. These improvements have caused the road right-of-way to move closer to their current sign, and there are plans to improve East Powell Road, which has caused utilities to be relocated. They are seeking a setback variance of 10 feet. Please see Exhibits 1 and 2 for sign location details. This is Exhibit 1. It shows it's 5 feet from the survey line. Exhibit 2 is a little higher up location showing it. Another sign from the auditor site that they provided showing where the current sign is. This is a map that our GIS specialist created showing where the sign will be located according to their measurements. They have some site photos that were received or retrieved from Google Maps. This is from 2019. This is the most current Google Map image showing, this shows the improvements on South Old State, where the sign is located. These site photos show what it appeared in 2016 and also 2007 from Google Maps, showing before the South Old State improvements and where the sign was set back according to the road at that time. These are current site photos that were taken today. Looking at these photos, these orange markers here were surveys from Delaware County showing where the right-of-way line is. This shows they don't have one over here, but if you followed it around, it's going to be in that location. There's a couple views from that. With that, I'm going to unmute the applicant and the agent. The agent is Bob Blackford, and the applicant on here is Chuck Himes, the president of the HOA.
Yes, good evening, everybody. I'm the agent working with Chuck and Oak Creek East, and we put together this zoning application or conditional use and variance application. And we're mimicking the
Can
sign
you
across
state your
the
name? State your name
Robert
and address for the
Blackford.
record.
Sure, Robert Blackford, 121 Middle Street, Galena, Ohio, 43021.
Thank you.
Sure.
And this will just be for the variance. The variance will need to be needs to be approved before we can go through with the conditional use part of the application.
Okay. Okay. And the variance deals with the setback, is that right, Jeff?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Now this old
Yeah.
sign doesn't even look like it's mounted on a base. So this old sign, was that approved originally when the development was constructed?
Yes.
That would be a Jeff question.
Yeah, that was approved initially. This is Chuck Himes, the president of the HOA.
Okay, well,
Okay,
can you go ahead and state your name and address for the record,
Sure.
and we'll be done with that.
It's Chuck Himes, 2217 Cold Harbor Court, Lewis Center, Ohio, 43035.
Thank you.
Sure. That sign was the initial sign that was put up when the development was developed. So that was all approved at the time of the community when MI and Dominion built the homes.
Okay, I kind of wondered because it's not mounted on the base, which is required, and I didn't know if it was like some kind of temporary deal or what was going on there.
Yeah, no, at least I'm assuming that was all approved. We had nothing to do with that sign. That was up when the development opened up. So that had to be something that M.A. Schottenstein's had put up. So at least the best to my knowledge.
Mr. Beard or Miss Bonnie, I have a quick question for you. The new overall sign appears to be 14 feet by 4 feet. With the inset, now that's the total overall monument, with the inset of the 8 foot by 3.5 foot or thereabouts, which keeps it into 32, 33 square feet for the inset. And yet the request states that the total sign approximately 11.25 square feet. That doesn't equate.
Yeah, I'm not sure where you got the 11.25 square feet. Are you just off of a measurement?
Yes, that's the measurement. That is the display area, which is what our code states. It's the size of the display area, not the total.
Okay, that's just the Oak Creek East
Yes.
verbiage. Okay, just want to clarify.
Yep, that is how our code is written, is on the display area, not the overall size.
Correct. Okay, just wanted to clarify.
Right. Yeah, on the sign portion.
Jeff, can you
And
show the picture of the sign? Sorry.
Yes,
that's okay. And so you're seeking a setback variance. Since this sign's going to get totally redone, why aren't you wanting to go ahead and comply with the setback and move that whole sign back to where it should be?
One concern was all the utilities back there, and also there's an existing tree. It would be under the canopy of the existing tree and would impede the visibility. I think my main concern was all the utilities. Not that we couldn't stake them, but I think there's 6 or 8 different utilities running around there, and I felt that the existing sign remaining would mean to me that they don't run utilities right underneath that thing.
Well, my thought is this is the opportunity to get it back again to where it should be with the new road, because you never know how many more years it's going to be. They may have to move that back again, and and then would be even closer, and it's way too close right now.
And the fence, how far back is the setback to the fence?
The sign would be closer to the fence, I think, if he moved that back, and the 10 feet, I think, is what they'd have to move that back.
Right,
Get
and it looks
back
like
to the
there is.
original. Oh
there
yeah,
is
there's
10
plenty of
feet
room
there.
there. Yeah, there's plenty of room there. Exactly.
Is the utility piece that you just discussed, is that something that has already been looked into, and that the utilities are running throughout that area, or is that an assumption that you're making?
It's both. I mean, you can see settlement where they've run them in front and behind the sign. It's kind of up to Chuck. It's more it's functional and aesthetic. What do you think, Chuck? Do you think you would rather have it back there where it belongs, or?
Looking at that, I mean, it seems like it would be better to have it back.
Agree.
But I'm like you, Bob. I'm not sure. I know Suburban, in all the dirt that is showing right at the front of that picture, I know that's Suburban, and they just put in all of their lines. So that is completed. But I know Delco is in the process of putting their water lines behind where Suburban is. So I'm not sure exactly where those water lines are going to be ran.
You wouldn't know water lines.
We don't.
Electric lines either.
Right.
Well, and we don't know how deep those are either. I mean, is that going to interfere with you putting in your base for your sign? I would think the water lines would be pretty deep. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when I met with Delco initially about a month and a half ago, he said that they're going to be putting their lines like 4 foot deep. And
yeah,
Bob,
I would think they would run them pretty deep.
Yeah, I don't know, Bob, how deep you've got the footers designed?
I mean, I defer to Jeff, but usually it's 36 inches down.
Well, part of that is the frost line is typically 30 to 36 inch.
Right.
Right.
Well, I will say, I mean, you know, neither Jeff or I are a utility expert by any means, but every time I talk to any utility company, they do not advise any structure on top of their lines, because if something does have to happen, they have to tear that down and
Right.
be responsible.
Sure.
For it. So,
Sure.
preventing it from the utility lines would be the best option, for not only the owner of the sign, but for the utility company.
I would want to know exactly where those run.
Yeah.
To see if we couldn't get back 10 feet and be in front of all their stuff.
Or
You
behind it.
know, kind of,
Right.
yeah, or kind of.
Behind it.
Well, are they like right in front of the fence?
That's, I'm not sure who that is. That's a survey marker there.
Yes.
That blue one?
The blue one.
Would that be Delco? Aren't theirs blue?
I'm not sure, probably. I know they're
Probably.
I know the utilities are moving also in that area, moving back. Being out there on site today, they haven't marked anything up in here, but just down Powell, they're moving them back towards the sign, towards that fence.
The orange stakes, those are utility lines.
These right here, possibly these out here are from the county engineer's office. We had them stake the right of way because we have some other things going on over in this area along South Old State. So I know these two out here are the engineers. That's where the right of way is. When I was out there, this from here to the sign is close to 15 feet. The issue is the angle that it goes around. They don't have a marker over here to know if it's how close it is to the sign. But from here, it's close to 15 feet to the edge of this sign. The issue is this corner here is a little bit closer. They do have a light that is in the middle here that's pointing at the sign. It's already there. So I'm not sure what they would have to do to move that. I'm not sure what this box here is. If that's
Looks like an electrical box.
It's a construction box the way it looks.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, that's AEP's meter box.
You would think that with the new sign appearing to be much larger than the old sign, that it would be aesthetically better to put it back further as well.
The other piece of that also, when that, and Jeff, you gave us an overhead of that a little while ago, it would have appear also that it's off center. If you look at that corner,
Yes.
it's pushed all the way to
It
one
is.
side. And if you, just as an idea, if you were you're going to build a nice sign and you push that back and into the center, you know, pending where utilities are at, it would certainly, it would actually probably be more readable from all directions, but would look better, would fit in the
Right.
corner
Take the
better.
pull out of,
Exactly.
you know, obscuring the face. You know, according to the documents here, the pole is like right in the middle of the sign in the corner. If you did what you're saying to move that out and at least get it in between the light pole and the walking sign pole, kind of center it a little better there for view, I think it would be better also. But my
It
main
just depends
concern is
where.
getting it back to where we need to be right now, you know, let alone, you know, where it's at, you know, currently is way too close.
Well, that's because the old picture is before the widening of Old State
Right.
Road.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. That one there. Yeah. That was fine for then, but now it's way too close and it's right up behind that light pole. If you look at their picture that was submitted on the e-packet.
Jeff, do you
kinda
have the overhead view of that?
Oh, Brack,
There, that one would work.
Yeah.
See
I
the
think
fence behind it.
if you keep
and-
going, I think there's another one, Jeff, that's in the e-packet. Yeah, that one right
Yeah,
there.
that one. But
Yeah.
that's not out far enough. It doesn't show.
This one here, yeah. This one.
Well, the fence
See
is still
how
behind it.
It is, but I mean, the light pole it's not centered, but I mean, it's still into the
close.
sign face right there. I think the whole thing needs to be pulled over to the right some
Right.
and moved back 10 feet and
Looks
And
like
put
the
back-
fence is about 20 feet behind the existing sign. The fence is about 20 feet behind the sign that sits there now. It's about
Okay.
20 feet.
And how far back is that tree that is in the corner of this image?
Yeah, that tree is about, it's off to the side, but it's about 10 to 15 feet behind the existing sign. It's not quite 20, but it's about 5. I think it's about 5 feet in front of that fence. 5 to 10 feet in front of the fence. It could be limbed up. It's a big oak tree, but it could be limbed up and left.
And I just think that the new sign has to be at least 15 feet off. Because if you've got anything else coming through that area, in utility lines, like you were saying, you probably have to go behind them now.
well, they're running utilities all down East Powell Road. And they're typically 10 to 15 feet from the edge of the road. So if you do stay within code of being back 15 feet, you should be in good shape. Have you had discussions with AEP or Suburban to know exactly where their lines are going to be at?
Yes, Suburban has already placed their lines, so they're
Okay.
done. AEP has not yet, and Delco has not. But I have had discussions with both of them.
Okay,
Uh,
based on the photo that's being shown right now with the meter and with the existing sign, if you move that sign back to code, it would appear that Suburban has already got their lines, which would be in front of the setback, as well as more than enough for both the gas, or excuse me, for the electric and power, or electric and water.
Right. I mean, yes, I can agree with you there. Yes.
And Miss Bonnie, is it not that they cannot run water line and electric line within 3 feet of each other?
That sounds about right, but I'm not exactly sure. I know there is some type of distance between them, yes.
That blue flag in the back should be a water line. Blue should represent.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah. And that's all the way back at the fence, it looks like.
Right. Probably in an effort to keep that away from those electric lines and communication cables.
Well, and I'm wondering whether the new monument ought you carve a hole in that fence and use the fence as part of, and actually move the monument behind it, because if that's 5 feet, it's another 10 feet to the fence, thereabouts, maybe 12.
Yeah, I kind of thought the same thing. It might look pretty good with
I think it would.
that sign actually being part of the fence line or integrated into the fence line, like right behind it.
Meet in front of it.
That's a possibility too.
No.
Well, no, behind it.
Parallel
I mean,
with it or
or
behind it.
yeah. You know, however you wanted to do it, however you needed to get your clearance. But I think I think the 10-foot variance, you know, for me is not desirable. I think it needs to be moved back. And then of course, you know, they're free to move that over and around on that corner however they see fit.
Well, right, center it
But
up so it could be seen.
yeah, well, like I said, that's for them to choose, but for me to choose, I want it back to where it should be. Another 10 feet.
Meet setbacks, right?
Correct.
Meet,
Correct.
yeah, meet or exceed the setback, yes.
Exactly. Yeah, right.
Yes. Yes. However they want to do that.
Exactly. And that's the point, I guess, that we're not trying to tell you where to put it at or anything, but
Right.
meeting the setback would.
You guys,
And
the Google Map image that I'm sharing right now,
yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
is this more beneficial here?
yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of looking at
aesthetically,
all
that
that
would
myself.
be, aesthetically, that'd be much more attractive, look more like an estate with the fence and the
Right.
sign
Yes.
working together. instead
Yeah,
of
I
against
think
each
so.
other.
And I don't think you would have to do anything with that tree in the front other than maybe trim up some branches. I don't think it would interfere with the visibility of that sign.
no,
It's
the
hard
only
to see
thing,
from a
Right.
picture, but
only thing on the trees, and it has nothing to do with the sign, it has with the utility lines cutting through all the roots.
right.
But that's not our discussion tonight.
Right. Well, at least for the setback.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
that's a nice picture
yeah,
there
That is,
too.
that's a good picture too. And
Yeah.
that's, so you're absolutely right that would enhance your estate look to it. That's of course not our
Exactly.
concern, but it would certainly enhance that, I believe.
I do too.
Does the applicant have any other questions or anything?
I don't. Bob, do you?
Did we lose Bob?
We did.
Would he need to be back on here with us before we vote or make a motion?
I don't think so.
Well, who is Bob the applicant, or I'm sorry.
Bob's listed as the agent.
Okay, so no,
Listed as the applicant.
I would say no. I would say the applicant would want to be the one being okay for the decision to move forward.
Okay. If nobody else has any questions or comments, I'll make a motion.
I second.
Are you making the motion to not approve the 10-foot?
Right. I'll make a motion for CU 2004 to make sure that the sign is per code, declining their request for the variance.
I second.
Okay, motion was made by Mr. Miller to deny VA-CU-20-04 for the setback variance, seconded by Ms. Sundar. Those voting, Mr. Oster,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Shipley,
Yes.
Mr. Travis,
Yes,
Ms. Sundar.
Yes.
All right. I thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
thank you.
You have a
Alright.
beautiful new sign
Do
going.
we have another part of this, or is it just the setback? Do we have to do the conditional use
That's a good question. I don't
to
know.
say that's okay?
The conditional use was seeking it to be at that location.
Was that contained in this
Yeah.
vote here?
What we could do
I
is,
thought we separated it.
well, it is two separate applications I filed, right, Jeff?
They filed one combined.
Why would they need a separate application for replacing a sign?
I thought that it just got separated because we were going to do the variance first and then the conditional use. Of course, I would approve. I mean, it looks like their sign and everything is
Well,
okay.
any new monument sign has to go through a conditional use process. So they wanted to seek a variance for the setback, which the board denied. And then they also applied for a conditional use. But Jeff, did they they did file an application form for the conditional use though, right?
They did. We just put them with the same case number with the.
Okay, yeah. So what we could do is we can move forward with the conditional use with the condition that the setback will be X amount of feet if the applicant's willing to do that.
I mean, that's fine with me.
I will say, if the setback isn't what we agree on and it needs to be closer, you do have to come back. So if you need to look into that more, we may need to table the conditional use.
Michelle, would we have to table this if it's, as long as it's within code?
Well, what she's saying is if he finds out some kind of information
Right.
to where he doesn't want to be in code, correct?
Yes.
Well,
As far as setback?
Yeah, or if he can't because of
If he can't,
utilities.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and
Well-
like we said, we think that he can be within code and not be in the way of utilities. And if not, you move it back even further, like into the fence line or just behind the fence line, and have a good look on that corner too. I think there's more options there too, but
I think
Well,
there's
the
a
app-
higher chance that he's going to be able to find a place to put that sign that meets the setback requirement.
Right.
yeah,
And
I
the,
think so too.
and the applicant stated that it would look almost better if it was closer to the sign.
To the fence?
Right.
Or
Yeah.
excuse me.
Yeah, to the fence. Yep. Keep
The
that
other-
tree trimmed up, and yeah, I think
Yeah.
that would look really good. But again, we're not here for that. We're just here for the code, and we would prefer that to be at least by setback by code.
Right.
I
And that's
would
a
agree
minimum
with
of
you guys.
15 feet.
Right.
I would agree with you guys.
I
So-
mean, if you back 20 feet, you can put it back 20 feet.
Right. No,
Mhm.
I think that there should be room in between there and the fence to put that sign and then center it up into the corner.
Sure. I mean, if you're going to go through the expense to completely redo it,
Yep.
I would, spend a lot of time in looking at where everything's at and where my money's going to be well spent and where it's going to look the best from the road and all of that, and then just go with it.
I think you're going to like it too. If you look at that corner and what you mentioned, giving it that estate look, not that that's our
Yeah.
issue here, but I think you're going to like it.
Right.
No,
He's got a big corner here to do with
Mhm.
whatever he really wants. And, because that whole corner is green space, so to speak. And yeah, I mean, he could incorporate, a whole new look there in that with that fence and stone and
right. No,
Are the lights okay that we proposing to use? They're similar to
I
the
did
ones.
look at that. Yeah. And those were what, like 25 watt?
25 watts, and they had
Yeah.
Yeah,
shrubbery in front of them. They were covered.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Or
And of
LED
course,
lights.
As long
yeah,
as they
it's
3,000 Kelvin in color.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. From what I
Could
saw,
you say that
yeah,
again?
As long as the lights do not exceed 3,000 Kelvin, that's the color spectrum. your specification,
Okay,
5 watt is good. And
okay,
with it being the covered across the top is good.
okay,
Your landscape looks like
okay.
it's going to shield them from the corner,
Yep.
which is one of our
Yes.
concerns. We don't want any light leakage, to the cars that are using the road. And,
Sure.
that's our main goal. And
Yeah,
from the looks of everything being tucked behind shrubbery, your light panels are like shielded or surrounded. It looks good to me.
okay. Do you ever allow uplighting those big oak trees, or is that a distraction, do you think?
That's against code.
Yep.
Okay, okay, thanks. Okay, Chuck, well, I'd love to meet you out there and we can review. And gentlemen, thanks so much. You had great
Well,
input, I thought.
I'm sorry.
You'll need to approve the conditional use, right?
Yeah, Jeff, are you okay with going through with the conditional use and just having the condition with the, whatever the required setback is?
Yep, and then they wanted the 3,000 Kelvin too, so, yeah.
Yeah, so,
Right.
so the motion will be with 2 conditions, everybody.
Right.
Yes, the motion would be 3,000 Kelvin. And that the setback be at least the 15 feet.
From the right of way.
Correct.
Yeah.
I second.
Mr. Miller, were you making that motion?
Yes,
Motion to approve, yes?
yes.
Motion made by Mr. Miller to approve CU-20-04 with the conditions that it's set back at least 15 feet from the right of way. And also the lights do not exceed 3,000 Kelvin, seconded by Ms. Sundar. Those voting, Mr. Oster,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes,
Mr. Shipley,
Yes.
Mr. Treves,
Yes.
Ms. Sundar,
Yes.
carries. Bob, I will be in contact with you with a response letter next few days with the reconditions and what they decided here, and then we can touch base if you have questions or anything.
Okay, thanks, Jeff and Chuck.
Yeah, and then Bob, we can get together anytime you would like.
Okay, well, thank you. I'll be in touch and thank you, zoning board, B&Z people. Thank you.
take
Yes,
care.
thank you
Welcome.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Have a good evening.
Okay,
Do.
you too. Thanks. Bye now.
Bye.
All right, we're gonna get to the next case. It's VA-20-05. The applicant is Proscape Lawn and Landscape Services LLC. The owner is Meadows at Lewis Center Homeowners Association LLC. The site is Lewis Center Road and Kilbourne Way intersections. They have 2 signs, so there's 2 parcels, 318-210-12-001-000 and 318-210-13-001-000. It's zoned single family plan residential district. They're seeking an area variance from rezoning case 19680 Meadows at Lewis Center to allow for the modification of 2 previously approved but as of yet unconstructed monument entry signs in an area zone single family plan residential district. It's located north of Lewis Center Road and at the intersection of Kilbourne Way, owned by Meadows at Lewis Center HOA. They're requesting the modifications of the approved entry sign in an area zone single family plan residential district. To the north, east, and west is all zoned single family plan residential district, single family homes. To the south is farm residential, single family homes. This is a zoomed out aerial of the site. This will be the west side that I'm showing. The other parcel is directly east of that, same location, and then also zoomed in aerial. For the area variance, from rezoning case 19680 Meadows at Lewis Center, the signs, the entry signage is shown on the street, tree, and landscape plan. Exhibit B is part of the approval of this rezoning submittal and shall meet the requirements of Article 22 of Orange Township zoning resolution. The applicant has requested to allow for the construction of 2 entry signs that will vary from the design of the approved entry signs. The sign will be constructed in the same general location with a greater setback than approved in the development text. The display area will have less square footage than the approved design and development plan. The variance they are seeking is for the design of the sign, of which the shape of the display area is different, has less square footage. The design of the sign columns are shorter than the development plan, and the setback is greater than originally approved. Exhibit 1 is the approved development plan sign design. Exhibit 2 is a approved development plan sign that shows more of the details of what it was supposed to be constructed as and the size. Exhibit 3 is a current sign that is to be removed. That sign that is currently there does not have a permit for it. Was not part of the development plan. Exhibit 4 is the proposed sign design. It shows the shape of it. This is one of the 2. The other one will just be the opposite angle with it. And then Exhibit 5 is a colored rendering of the sign design. This is a site plan of the sign location. It shows this is Kilbourne Way. This is the bike path along Lewis Center Road. The site photo from Google Maps was from 2019. We have another one. This sign has been removed, so that is no longer there. The bigger version of what it will look like. Each of them, one for each. This shows a little more, shows the type of trees and that they'll be landscaping with. This is shows with our GIS, shows where this is at, shows the sign. These are a couple site photos that were taken today, showing where this was at. According to the site plan for the development plan, these signs were supposed to be in front of the bike path, but these are being proposed to be here in the landscaped area. This is the other side that shows the sign that they will be removed. That's all.
What's the setback?
That's all I have for right now. Let me unmute the applicants for this one.
Okay.
Jeff, before we get a question, what is the proposed setback at that point?
This is even further than what it's required.
Yeah, I know, but I have a question about what that is. Is it 15 feet? Is it 20 feet?
It is 26.8 feet on the west side, and from the property line, and 23.5 feet from the west on the west side.
Okay, thank you.
I did unmute the applicant and the HOA. So
the only thing we're looking at, Jeff, is I mean, the setback is greater, the square footage is less. It's a design change with the sign is what we're really looking at, right?
Correct.
And it just, and I know this has been approved before, the old design had, but this is an unlit sign? Is that the way I'm looking at this? I see no lighting.
No, there are lights.
There are 2 lights. Yeah, they've got the lights in
It was like this
text
third
of
or
it.
fourth page in the stuff that we got.
Yeah, it's a floodlight, LED integrated bronze aluminum that's going to be incorporated
I got
into
you. I
there.
understand. Okay.
Yeah,
12 to
27.
15 volt, 2700 Kelvin.
Yep.
So, you know, they're right in line in that. I really like what they've done here. I think it's a really good look,
Looks nice.
especially when you got a sign on each side.
Yep.
Yeah,
and the way
definitely.
they've got that swooping. Yeah, I think that's going to be a really good look.
I agree.
I have a question. Is the elevation of the sign going to be the same or higher?
What was it?
Been proposed. Well, I think it's going to be lower because their columns are a lot lower. Their highest column is lower than what has already been approved. And then of course they've got the swoop.
They're raising the beds up from what
I don't know that they are doing that because they are raised all the way down through there already.
Right, that's
so
part of
that was already raised when that development went in, and always has been. They've got rows of those trees, as you can see in that picture right there, that go all the way down the frontage, that are kind of like into the mound, so to speak. So they've got a decorative stone here right now around that temporary sign that they've got up. And I think that's all they're doing here is they're putting in some kind of decorative for the base of the mound that's already there, if that makes sense to you.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's already, there's quite a sizable mound on this development that holds all those evergreens or whatever you want to call those going down through there.
They offset them when they planted them to create more of a screen.
Yes, they did. They did a really good job there as far as all that.
It looks good.
Travis, are you on here? Can you hear?
Did we lose the applicant?
No, I'm here. I'm the HOA representative.
Oh, okay.
Travis is shown on here, but I'm not hearing him.
There was Travis. Travis is the ProScape guy.
Yeah, he's not
Would you state your name and address, please, ma'am?
I'm sorry?
Would you state
Go
your
ahead,
name?
state your name and address for the record.
Yeah, my name is Angie Bryant. I'm at 5460 Luddington Drive, Lewis Center, 43035.
Thank you.
Do you have anything to add on Jerry's question about the elevation or the buildup of the base kind of before you get to the sign? Because I'm really familiar with the area because I go by it all the time, but I just didn't know if you had anything to add to that.
I honestly don't know. We actually just learned that there was supposed to be a sign there before. Literally like last week. I think Travis found out before we did, which we were obviously very surprised about. But so I don't even know how tall that other sign was supposed to be. And because it was closer to the road, the starting elevation obviously would be lower, but I don't know where the top elevation would be. And I don't know what that is in relation to the mound. I would have to defer to Travis for that. I honestly don't know.
Well, like I said,
it's not going to be a monstrosity, obviously.
Right. And I don't think it pretty much, to me, it looks pretty much like the base here that is by this little temporary hanging, swinging sign that we see so often when the developments start up. But
and we're not planning on raising it any more than it already is.
It looks like it's just primarily going to be containment for erosion, I guess might be the best
Yeah.
way to
Can
put
you hear
that.
me now?
Yes.
Travis,
Okay. Okay. For some reason, my mic wasn't working. I
Yes.
think I'm good now.
you're gonna
You're
have,
good now.
Okay.
You're good now.
All right, yeah, so to
But-
answer that question, yeah, we'll probably cut down the front of that mound a little bit, so then when we build our garden wall, it'll bring it back up to the current height. So the sign, the height of the sign, which is like 5 feet at the highest point, will be
Right.
from the current elevation of that mound, and then with the front dug down a little bit and our garden walls, that'll kind of make the difference of the mound the way it is now.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, I think it looks great, you know,
Yeah. Agree.
with
And-
both of them, the way it swoops. Yeah, I think it's a clever idea.
and Travis, can I
Oh, thank you.
Travis, can I have you just state your name and your address?
Yeah.
So it's on the record.
Yep, Travis Mulvane, 3329 Marion Bucyrus Road, Marion, Ohio, 43302.
I do have one quick question in regards to the lighting. The lighting is going to be to the inside.
The planter box.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be my initial thoughts. The plants in the flower box are kind of just a 3D rendering. They won't be exactly, the same thing in that height. I would want to tuck the lights just inside the wall. I guess depends on the angle and the placement we need to get to make the light hit the sign correctly. So we want
Right.
the light to hit the top of the sign, but not really go above it.
Yeah, and we want it hidden from view of any traffic going up and down the road from either sign. So yeah, we have them try to do their landscaping and like hide that light behind shrubbery or whatever. So there's no light leakage. And it looks like you're going to have what? Are you going to have 1 or 2 lights on each sign?
It's 2 lights per sign.
There it is. Yeah, I thought I saw that.
Yeah, so like I said, I think between the 2 lights, we could, angle one at the lower side, one at the higher side to kind of get the whole sign lit up without shooting over top of that low side if we use a single light.
I think you'll be surprised at how much light you're going to get out of those, with this sign. And I think 2 will be absolutely plenty. And you won't have to worry about, are you high enough or low enough? I think 2 lights hitting that panel, you're going to be well lit.
Yeah, these lights, they pan out pretty fast. So like you could have them pretty close and they shoot out a pretty wide beam. So I don't think we need to worry about distance too much.
Mm-hmm.
Nice looking sign.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
very nice. I really like it. A lot better than what was approved.
Yeah, that was, I don't remember I wasn't part of the approval process of the first one. And when I seen that, I'm like, wow, I wouldn't want to build that. Like, I'm really glad we decided to go this route. I think it's gonna be really nice.
Yeah, I do too. Are there any other questions?
Nope.
I have none.
Okay.
To approve the area variance on rezoning case 19680 Meadows at Lewis Center to allow the modifications of 2 previously approved but yet unconstructed monument entry signs in the area zone single family planned residence as outlined in the request.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Mr. Treves to approve variance case application VA-20-05, seconded by Mr. Oster. Those voting, Mr. Oster,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Shipley,
Yes.
Mr. Treves,
Yes.
Ms. Sandar,
Yes.
motion carries. Angie and Travis, I'll be in contact with the response letter in the next few days. regarding this decision. If you guys have any other questions or anything, feel free to contact me.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Yep,
Thanks.
you guys.
Good looking sign.
Yep.
They are. I really think they hit a home run here by changing those signs. The other ones were just so plain and squared.
All right, next order of business is March BZA minute corrections. On your screen now are only the ones that I received. Others said that they didn't have any corrections. So the corrections that I had was line 63, it should be provided, not provide. And then lines 113 and 225, Mr. Boyd had pointed out that it was not him that was speaking, it was Mr. Shipley. I know Cindy is not used to having Mr. Shipley and Mr. Boyd at hearings, so was a little off on whose voice was whose. Change those quick ones. I don't know if any of you have any other questions or not.
Nope.
No.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes dated March 19th, 2020, with the corrections as noted.
I'll second that.
motion.
The motion made by Mr. Miller to approve the minutes from March 19th, 2020 with the corrections as noted, seconded by Mr. Oster. Voting Mr. Oster,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Shipley,
Yes.
Mr. Travis,
Yes.
Ms. Sandar.
I abstain.
Okay. The only other thing that I have is we did receive one application for the May hearing. At this time, we're not sure how that hearing is going to be held, depending on how things happen with the health issues. Possibly it might be a virtual meeting again, or it might be in person. We're kind of at a wait and see what happens here in the next couple weeks. But I will be in contact with you.
Okay. Not
Okay.
to start a hornet's nest. Rick, should you have voted on the minutes if you weren't at the last meeting?
Oh, you know what? That was the last meeting, wasn't it?
Yep.
And I'm not trying
Yeah.
to be confrontational. I just want to be legal.
That's true.
He's allowed to vote on them if he agrees with what you guys said and doesn't see any spelling errors or anything. He is allowed to vote on them.
I didn't notice anything, but yeah.
So yeah, that's okay. That
I thought this virtual meeting worked out real well. Of course, like I said, I got multiple monitors on
Yeah.
my setup. So it enabled me to scroll through the PDFs and kind of, go to what I was looking at prior and, as Jeff presented. And I think it worked out really good.
As
Yep,
do
I'm
I.
all for it.
Yep, I thought it went well.
Thanks for giving us a try and going through it. I know this is a little different than normal, so
Jeff,
Well,
one quick
thanks for setting
question.
this up.
yeah. Thank you for that.
We have paper. Do you want us to just shred the paper? Or what do you want back, if anything at all?
I mean, you can shred it if you want. I won't be in the office until Tuesday, but if you wish, you could leave. You can either drop off the
packet?
or you can just keep them, and I'll get them whenever we meet.
Yeah.
in person. Just keep the folders, and we can reuse them whenever we meet
Yeah.
in person again.
Okay.
Yeah, next
is it-
month and 2 months away, you can just hold on to them. We can all turn them in.
Well, that's fine. I just wanted to know what to do with them.
Yep.
Sure. Because Michelle was talking about going to tablets in there too.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be down the road. We'll be going electronic anyway and do away with all this paper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
would have been good timing.
Yeah,
You
great timing, Michelle.
Yeah.
The next meeting is for the 21st.
Yes, May 21st. will be the next hearing.
Okay, cool.
Very good.
We have,
Okay. Looks like meeting's adjourned.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Take
folks.
care.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Good
Thank
night.
you.